Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Silver Cosmo Movie Reviews.
Here we go.
Awesome.
All right, setting things straight and slinging through the multiverse. It's your captain, Chris with a K.
Hey guys, it's Jess back on the show. Glad to be here.
Straight from the Fortress of Solitude, it's the off-brand Superman, Marquez Christopher Eason.
It's your boy Tristan.
And today, you guys, we have our special guest.
Yay.
Moops.
Welcome, Moops.
So happy to have you.
It's good to be here.
You killed my vibe, Moops.
Oops.
You interrupted.
Why have you
my
failed?
intro.
It was the vibe.
It's
that
okay. Hey, you're a first timer. It's all right. Welcome to the show, Moobs. And you guys, this is your host, Carlos. You guys, we are going to dive into Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But before we do, let's take a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Man, I just can't seem to have time to paint my house with such a busy schedule. I wish there was a way that I could get that done.
Oh, Tristan, I'm glad I caught you, man. I know you want to paint your house. Let me tell you about our friend Chris over at LifeWave Painting. Give him a call, 316-992-6434, and check out his pictures on his Facebook page, LifeWave Painting LLC. And don't forget to mention us over at Razor Cut Information. He has some free estimates for you and exclusive specials. So make sure you ask for Chris at 316-992-6434.
Well, you guys, let's dive into the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It was directed by Kent Powers, Justin K. Thompson, and Joaquin Dos Santos. And it's starring.
Oh, is that me? Shamik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Brian Tyree Henry.
Luna Lauren Velez, Jake Johnson, Jason Schwartzman.
Issa Rae, Karen Sarda, and Sean Wigman.
Greta Lee, Daniel Kaluuya, Mahershala Ali.
And Oscar Isaac.
I feel like I butchered some names.
Moves got it right.
I
Nice.
apologize.
I can
for-
pronounce
And
the
Mahershala
name.
Ali is Blade, too, guys. He's the
Yes,
new Blade,
I know.
guys.
That's
So
gonna be-
I just had to throw it because I'm really excited about Blade, guys. Okay,
We
but
are
anyway,
all
sorry.
excited. Well, you guys, let's strap in because we're going to have blast off in
3, 2, 1.
All right, we have liftoff to the movie. All right, let's break down the characters. I'm going to start this off with you, Marquez. Let's talk about the characters about the movie.
We're still in orbit, though. Wait, hold on. Okay. Well, in no particular order, I have to say one of my favorite characters in the Across the Spider-Verse is Miguel O'Hara, the Spider-Man 2099. He's actually, I love the look of the character. I love how aggressive he is, the way he got his powers.
One very cool powers, too.
Yes. He was the first. That was the first character that they used to introduce organic webbing. Because if you guys remember the original Peter Parker Spider-Man, he had to use web shooters. They were devices attached to his wrist. But Miguel O'Hara was the first to actually use organic webbing.
What about Tobey Maguire?
Oh, God, no. I think they took that from
Probably
Spider-Man
retconned it there. Did a little retcon.
Yeah. And my son's favorite superhero, all-time favorite superhero, is Miles Morales' Spider-Man.
Well, sure.
I went to see
Good
it with
one.
him. He was actually, he refused to wear his mask to go to the movies. But, I think I was the only one that kind of dressed up. I'm normally a Superman fan, as you guys all know, but I had a Spider-Man shirt on just for him. So.
Well, that's nice of you.
Yeah, I know.
You got to support him,
Yeah, normally I wouldn't. But I was like, oh.
Was that a Kodak moment?
Yeah, I didn't take any pictures though. No, because if somebody would have saw me in that, it would have. Hey, wait, you're a traitor. You're.
I thought you liked Superman. Tristan, what character did you like in the movie?
I'm going to go off what Marquez said, Miguel O'Hara. I liked at the very beginning when they're fighting, I guess we'll go ahead and say spoiler alerts, but sort of towards the beginning when they're fighting Vulture, when Gwen Stacy's fighting Vulture. When he goes in there and they're talking, you don't see any spider senses tingling for him or anything like that, and then he just gets taken out by him and goes flying, and I thought that was really cool and that they touched up on that. But Hobie, of course, he... an outlier, sort of that guy who doesn't like stick by the rules and stuff, and he could care less about what Miguel O'Hara wanted. It's like he didn't even want to be there really, but he stuck out for Miles, and he had his back, and he was just an awesome character to see him come to film. I really like that a lot, and I think a lot of people really enjoyed seeing him in there.
I'm going to go a little different way here. Actually, my favorite character, obviously, I thought Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy, they were kind of the leads of the movie, did great. But just to kind of go kind of side, I really liked Hobie Brown, the Spider-Punk, Daniel Kaluuya as
Yeah.
that. Just it's a whole nother regimen of Spider-Man, and I like that he's always down for going again. He's like, oh, okay, I'll help you, like rebel and be punk, like just that punk aspect of Spider-Man. I really thought that was cool. I do want to say Everett had some thoughts on Spider-Man. He helped me. He watched it with me. Miguel O'Hara is also his favorite Spider-Man. It's one of the things he knocked the movie a little bit was the portrayal of Miguel O'Hara being such a kind of the spoiler alert, a little bit of a villain in the movie. But for me, it was the Hobie Brown Spider-Punk, especially when he hooked up Gwen with the extra wristband.
Yeah, that was
Cool. I was just like, yes, you do it. Like,
Yeah,
he was just like his freewheeling attitude and like buck the system if it's cool. Like if the system's not cool, then get rid of it. And so I don't know. I really like the Hobie Brown Spider-Punk.
I like the same Spider-Punk as well.
There
man.
you
He is
go.
Really
See?
cool.
Great minds. Great
Miguel
minds.
was awesome. Great. I like. That was pretty cool too. And Miles and Gwen, obviously the main focus of the show. But they're pretty good characters.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I kind of mentioned earlier, I just love the spot. And I think that's also just because I really like it when you have like a character that is like I think we see a lot of like characters that like start off and they're like, ooh, they're kind of spooky, but then they kind of turn into like, like if you get like a redemption arc and then they're not as like spooky anymore. But I'm like, I like it when a character starts off as not particularly threatening, and then by the end you're like, oh, there's some potential there for some really scary stuff.
Like the opposite of a redemption arc almost.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Now I'm sorry,
Yeah.
but I haven't watched all of those.
That's all right.
Yeah.
But I also really like the design of Pav Spider-Man.
That was my
like-
That was
backup.
pretty cool.
I
he's
just
pretty-
love
I
a
agree.
good set of
Well,
really
and-
detailed like colors and designs and
His
Very
his
pretty.
web use of webs with the
the-
I'm not sure what it's called. It's some
The
sort of
chakram?
Is that what it is?
Chakram?
the spinny.
Yeah,
I want to say
the
dreidel, but
bangle
it's not a
is-
dreidel.
is-
the
Yeah.
bangle, yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, yeah, that was
Yeah.
a very cool one as well.
those are my two favorites.
Yeah.
Well, Moop, since you brought that up, let's dive into the theme part. Theme part itself, the soundtrack was so. You got to give a shout out to
Man.
Metro Boom. They did a
That
great
was-
job.
I love the
The
soundtrack.
soundtrack really blended in with the movie, and as well, I just like the platform how it was set up with the colors were rich. I mean, literally, it was just it kept me attuned into the movie. And now, have you noticed that they're duplicating that now? Like if you guys were at the movie theaters, you would have seen on the next Turtles movies. They're trying to copy the
A
same
little bit of
Yeah.
the same art
identity.
style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me the groundwork to it. What did you like about this movie in particular than from the prior?
Who was that for?
Well, for me, the art style, like I said, it's more, like I said, pops a little more. And this time, I think the father-son dynamic, it really gets flushed out a little bit. You see how Miles is coming of age, and like Moops was saying, it's a coming of age story. There's a lot to there's a lot of deep fun to be had from a narrative point of view. I would love to write a story like that personally, but I don't want to spoil it too much, but just the idea of, when someone you care about is in danger, just the lengths you will go to protect and save them. That was the beauty of it for me. It's just watching a son, and I think watching my son watch that, I think that was really entertaining for me too. Just seeing him like, he always tries to put himself in the movie. He says that brings up the enjoyment level of the movies, which I can't help but do that to myself, Say, like, I had to catch myself, say, okay, now, if I was, oh, no, just a movie. But, yeah, that's pretty much what stood out for me was the father-son dynamic. To quote Vin Diesel, it's family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Family.
Yeah.
Oh my.
If there's a lawsuit, you're on your own. What about you, Tristan?
They explored all the different, universes in the worlds. I love that because the first movie, it was just Miles' world. This movie, it's literally across, the Spider-Verse. We see a Lego world, and every single
That was a great
universe he travels to has a different art style. I love that. A different art style gives it a different feel. You know you're somewhere different, somewhere unknown, and I love seeing that. We dig deeper into the other Spider characters, into Gwen Stacy and her backstory. Get a little bit more of his Peter that mentored him when he was there, and now he has a baby and everything. So,
and you're right.
That was cute. That was really cute. So.
And you're right, Trish. I don't think anything like this has ever been done cinematically. I don't think anything has ever been done. Okay, you have a different universe, different art style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think it's been done.
No one's talking about the punchline with introducing Venom characters from the Sonyverse. Miss Chin.
Yeah, that was cool.
And the appearance of, is it Donald Glover?
Yeah, as a Prowler. Yes, or a version of the Prowler. Yeah.
Oh, right, when he was locked up.
Yeah,
that was fun. Yeah,
well, and I think that actually leads into the MCU because there's a deleted scene of him on the phone talking to Miles in Homecoming, and in Homecoming he's saying, "Hey, bro, I don't like those weapons around. I have a nephew that lives here." So I thought that was awesome to see, bro. That's just like sort of a teaser for the MCU and what's to come, I guess.
Yeah.
We got to dive into that. Well, let's talk about the plot. So Into the Galaxy plot here. Jesse, was the plot interesting to you?
It was, yeah. Well, it's like Marquez was saying about, I feel like it's a lot of family oriented, and then he needs to go his own way, because he's being like overbearing with all the emotions and stuff, and he's just had to branch out.
Well, and I really like the story with Gwen Stacy's dad and the developments there, and she killed Peter in her Earth, which was a different development than I guess I've seen come across with the Spider-Man. Or I guess she didn't kill him. He died because of her. Similar to Uncle Ben for normal Peter.
Yeah, she got accused of it.
Right, and she had to leave. But it was a death that happened during her watch, essentially. And it's her moment of great responsibility, great power, great responsibility.
It's her canon event.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Canon
Bam.
event.
Yeah.
And so we see her struggling with that, and now she gets introduced to the whole Spider-Verse, and you see this whole agency that gets developed with Jess Drew, Spider-Woman of which I'm not sure which her Earth is at this point off the top of my head. Her and Miguel O'Hara coming out and being like, oh, I don't. Did they even have a name for this organization that they developed to like make sure nothing went wrong in the Spider-Verse?
Well, ultimately, I see they just protect the timeline. I want to say something real quick about this, and then we'll move on. But when you think about the concept of a superhero, I mean, on its face, in a real-world setting, it's logically absurd. I mean, because you think about it, like, say, guys, if we all had superpowers and we stopped a giant monster from wrecking downtown, after that, we couldn't just go to lunch. No. I mean, if the media got involved, politics,
lawyers.
Everything. I mean, will we have superhero insurance?
Right.
And what about counseling? Because, we just trying to put into perspective how hard the heroes have it in this. Think about lying to your loved ones about where you've been, who you really are, what you do, what you're capable of, the type of pressure that would put you under as a teenager, let alone as a 49-year-old man. I couldn't imagine, oh, yeah, baby, I was just out somewhere. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I felt like this movie does really well. They give you just enough of, okay, his life is wrecked because of being superhero versus, okay, trying to balance the hero and the personal life thing. They kind of walk that line perfectly from a narrative point of view, I think. They didn't make him too much. Okay, his life was so unbearable that you're like, oh, man, you just feel so bad for him and stuff like that. But I think they did that really well in this.
Oh, honestly, I kind of really like the concept of the canon events and the breaking the canon. Just because, like, I feel like, and I think I saw in an interview that some of the creators did, that they were like, is this meant to be a little slight to the people who were like, you can't break the canon of like everything? They're like, yeah. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, especially if you're adapting something from comics to film, or like, you know, if you're like making something and you're using, you know, IP that is already existing, when you're adapting it like that, sometimes I think you got to just break it just a little bit, because sometimes things that happen in like book form or comic form don't always translate to like television or like movies. And so I think while you can still use that same IP and still like draw a lot of the same inspiration from the original stuff, it's not wrong to change and adapt it to better suit a different medium and to better suit
definitely.
a different, you know, because it's like you don't want to tell the same exact story, but like take it from a comic and then put the same exact story on screen, because at that same time it's like, what actually are you doing with it?
Exactly.
Like what's the point of doing that if you're just gonna, like, that's kind of where my beef with live action remakes of Disney movies comes in. It's like, what are you actually bringing to the table by making something?
You know, I never thought of that. I'm actually the one that's complaining, like, that's not how it's supposed to be. That's not how it's supposed to be. But
I've
the
done
way
the
you
same
said
thing.
it, you have a strong point. And that's duly noted. Duly noted, Moops. Good job on that. Well, you guys, let's take a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Here at Razor Cut Information, we want to give a huge shout out to our good friend Taylor Cross over at Sierra Pacific Mortgage. As a top-notch mortgage loan originator, be sure to see Taylor for all your home loan and refinance needs. Call him at 316-648-2508 or email him Taylor, Taylor, .cross, CROSS, at spmc.com. To learn more, you can visit www.spmc.com/taylor.cross. And if you're here locally in Wichita, stop by at 800 East Douglas Avenue, Wichita, Kansas, 67202. Thanks, guys, and thanks, Taylor.
Before we dive into the Silver Cosmo movie lining star review, Marquez had something to say, so I'm going to give him the floor on that.
No, just to add on what she said, it's also like whenever you adapt a property, when you take it from the page to the big screen, it's kind of, I feel like, you know, like taking liberties and changing things, it's okay. But I think if you take too many liberties with an already existing property, you kind of change its core. So long as the core elements are there, I don't see anything with adding things or removing things. It's just like, because you can't do everything exactly the same way you did on the page. There's just no way. I mean, it's a different medium, so, you know.
Well, I think even,
sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think even like as times change, like some of the stuff was written in the 40s, 50s.
Yeah, I know.
Originally, and like science has changed since then. We have different worldviews now.
Modernizing.
So you have to make a little bit of changes for that as well as changing for the medium too.
But also, a lot of people don't like change too. You know, people
True.
are just set in their ways. But sometimes you got to kind of branch out.
Yeah, and I hear a lot about that with like cars. People say I'm a traditionalist. I want the old. It's like, okay, no, you can't be a purist because we go back to Henry Ford's horseless carriage.
Right.
If that's the case,
That's
so
about as pure as pure gets.
you
right
still
there.
want Adam West Batman? Do you as opposed to Michael Keaton? So how do you?
Yeah, no.
Where do you draw the line? And they're only going to say, well, it's not as good as the original.
That's the
And
thing.
think about the state of mind you were in when you saw the original. You had no expectations.
No,
Right.
You
you're
had
just like,
no
oh, that's
frame,
cool. Okay.
no frame of reference, no anything, and now you have this bar,
So
this
it's like
idea in your
sits
mind.
high,
So you
yeah.
have to top that with any new property based on
Yeah,
an
it's hard
existing
to-
continuity, and that's really hard to do. And when I see people do it, it's like, yes, you know, they got it. You know,
broke out of your shell.
Yeah.
Perfect.
yeah, you know, but yeah, that's it, Carlos.
Now that we got that out the way, guys.
Sorry about that.
Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up into that Silver Cosmo movie lining review that's brought to you by Sky Trampoline. I'm going to start this off with you, Jesse. How many stars do you give?
What are we doing? 10 out of 10 or what?
Out of 4.
See, you set the bar high again.
Sorry. Well, I'm gonna give it a 4 because I thought it was great. I love the comic style. The way they did the colors was great. It kept me entertained the whole entire time.
Yeah.
All the different Spider-Men you see. It's great. I loved it.
So I'm going to throw out Everett. He had a ranking for it. He went with 3.5. He loved it, but he knocked it a little bit because of Miguel O'Hara's portrayal as being his favorite Spider-Man, and that it was an unknown cliffhanger going in. He was upset about
that
unknown
was,
cliffhanger. So I don't want to go too much into that for that. But anyway, so he had 3.5. I'm going to go with a 4 though. I love the Spider-Verses. The first one blew me away. The second one took it up even another notch over that. So I'm totally stoked for the third one. So yeah, for me it's a 4.
I'm gonna say 3.9, and it's only because there's not enough Spider Noir in it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, that's fair.
No Spider Noir, no Spider Ham.
Yeah, we did miss a lot of the main ones from the first movie, but I'm giving it a 4. I thought it was a masterpiece. The animation was beautiful. The soundtrack goes with it amazingly, and the story. It's a nice coming of age story, and he has to learn his way, and it's awesome to see. I feel like it fits all age groups. Any age group can watch it. Any audience can watch it. It just appeals to all audiences. Amazing action. It's just a beautiful movie. I love this movie. It's one of my favorites, man.
Amen, brother.
Okay, the only bad thing about this movie is part 3 isn't out yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
But give them
so-
the time, though.
Yeah, I know.
Don't, don't
I have
crunch
to-
the artist. Give
I
them
know,
time.
I know how that. Trust me, deadlines.
Yeah.
But no,
It
it's
does
just,
have a release date, though.
yeah. What's it? March?
They
In
might
March.
need to
End of
push
March
it.
next year. They probably will. But
They should.
Yeah,
I,
I've been
So-
reading
I
that
think they
might
should
have to.
push it.
So I have to give it a 4 because of. But I was gonna go 3.9, but she convinced me. So it's like, oh, yeah, because it's like, yeah, okay. Oh, I was not expecting that cliffhanger. That was just
I
a
know.
like,
Yeah, I
God,
wasn't either.
I looked at my son and he looked at me and he threw his hands up like, what? I was like, I don't know. Just wait.
Earth
Hold on.
42.
Yeah, I felt like they were going to come out and go, no, we're just messing with
I
you
was
guys.
real
We're just messing
confused.
with
I
you."
was like, oh, whoa, what is going on?
Yep.
yeah. So-
42 stuck with me the whole time in the movie. I was thinking 42. So I was thinking 42 like the
Actually,
group level 42 one hit wonders.
that makes me
Also,
want to go back
you know,
and watch it because I bet there's a bunch of number 42s hidden in
There
there.
is
sure.
42 hidden.
There
I'm
is.
sure.
Yeah,
But
I didn't even
indeed-
think about that.
What you guys all just said wraps it up. I mean, the movie was great itself. It was well written, and got to hand it to the directors, especially Joaquin Dos Santos. This is not his first rodeo. He's done a lot of cartoon style shows. I mean, especially when he redid Voltron as well. Because
Oh, yeah, that was good, too. Yeah,
it was
I
not
love
bad.
that.
I watched a lot of that
So
one.
he's got
Yeah, me
he's got
too.
a lot of insight. So what a great team to have, and and of course the soundtrack as well. I keep raving about the soundtrack because it just blended so well with the movie, especially when you have the right music, right sound, and it's going with it. It just keeps the movie so entertained, and the characters just blossoming and getting to coming to age in their character. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 4. With the math, I'm not that good, you guys, because we got 3.5, 3.9. I'm just gonna
Let's
make it
just go
simple. It's got to be a 4.
It's a 4.
So we give it a 4. So
It's good.
all right, you got
4.
any shout outs before we go?
Give a shout out to everybody out there in interwebs land. Thanks for tuning in. Love y'all.
Shout out to Everett. Miss you tonight, guy. Hope you're here next time. Anyone you want. Friends, family, or no one.
Shout out to my co-writer Nexie.
There you go.
Shout out to all the people who made this movie, man. It was spectacular. I loved it.
Yeah. Thanks for watching or listening. I guess I should say, everybody. Love you
Shout out,
guys.
yeah, we'll give a shout out to the crew, the family, the friends, everyone backstage as well. Thank you guys for coming out. Moops, thanks for coming to the studio.
It's a great time.
Yes.
Thanks,
We're
man.
Appreciate
looking
it. Yeah,
forward to
thanks, Moops.
promote your series, and we're looking forward to it. Until then, get ready for the next show. We're out.
Peace.